Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Moakalatte here. Today I'm going to talk you through the reason why I chose to make the Avril Lavigne Bite Me video the way that I did. So this started because my friend, my job, let me just start there actually. My job is to produce virtual events that happen in the metaverse, as we're now all referring to it. And we basically create virtual stages and virtual environments using some pretty epic software, and we mix it all live, and we move the cameras around, and we make it look like it's basically a real place. And I was talking to my friend about this, and he said, when are we going to get a new video from you? Because it's been like literally 6 months plus, probably 9 months now, since we've last seen a Moakalatte video. I'm surprised because I would have thought that you'd be like, Moakalatte coming to you, you know, in a virtual environment from the metaverse and all this stuff. And I was like, maybe I could do that. And the reason why I've made this video is because 2 people that have left comments, I want to honor their request or my suggestion, and they basically just said yes, of me making a video. So that's Noah, my new friend, who's an absolute legend, and he's commenting on pretty much every video that I can even remember doing. So thank you so much, Noah, for doing that. And Mike Kid Lazy, who is an absolute legend, probably the most hard-working person that I've seen on YouTube that's making guitar covers. So if you're not following her, please go follow her. Noah, you're a legend. If you want to follow him, I'm not sure if he's got any content, but you can subscribe anyway, and subscribe to Mike Kid Lazy as well. But basically, they were going, it looks really real. It looks very, very real, and I think he's there. And then Noah was saying, no, I think that you can replicate this with a green screen, and you can fake some shadows. He even left a how to add shadows to a green screen video in a comment. And today I'm going to debunk everything. I'm going to explain how I did it and what it was that I used. So this is how I did it. I actually used the same thing that's gone into the newest Matrix demo. It's a playable game from Epic Games for their demonstration of Unreal Editor 5 and also the new Matrix film. So what I did was I downloaded Unreal. It's free to download, and there's a whole library of things that you can download. Think of it as like assets, things that you can build stuff with. So like walls and textures and 3D assets. So anyway, this is what it looks like basically. So this is it without me doing anything to it. We've got a beautiful sky there. And as this is a games developing app, you can kind of move around it like you would be a character. And one of the things that I like in particular is just how detailed it is. So I'm hoping that this is coming through in the video because it's crazy detailed. So what these are all planes, they're called. As you can see on this side here, they're called planes, and they have a texture of this rough brick wall. And I've basically just created a little room. And then what I've also done is added a camera, like a virtual cinema camera. It's called a cinema camera actor. And this here is the preview of what the camera's seeing. For some reason, it's not, I've probably done something wrong because I've only been using it for a couple of weeks. But for some reason, the lighting that you can see here and all of the graffiti is not appearing on this main editor window, but we can still see what's going on here. So if I move the camera left and right, you can see that it moves on our little preview window. If I move it in, you'll actually see the camera. That's that thing with the blue and red and green arrows. I built the room basically. It's a very simple room. All of the things are the same. And then I downloaded some decals, they're called, and the decals are the graffiti that you'll see. So if I get rid of those for a second, this is what the wall looked like after that, and you'll notice that we've got some lights as well. So first I added in some spotlights and another one there. So as you can see, it's starting to generate it here. And then I added a blue to the left and to the right. And then with these decals, I just basically downloaded a bunch of them and stuck them on top. If we ignore what I'm doing on this section for a moment and just concentrate on here, what you can also do is create, it's called a cinematic or a sequence. And what that basically means is that you can move the camera from predetermined points. It's called keyframing. In a video editing app, you would use keyframes to be able to say, you know, this is when I want volume to be at 0 and volume to ramp in. You could do that. You could keyframe a zoom in, such as probably the one that I'm doing now in post. This is all done using keyframes in something like Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. So what I did was I found a good point where I could see a little bit of the floor, a little bit of the blue spotlights that are going on at the side, and then most of the graffiti. And I was just basically messing around. I used this first sequence here to generate images that I could maybe use at different points. I was originally going to do a tracked sequence, so I'd play it so it looked like at the start of the clip it would basically play and I would be there and it would zoom into me as well. But to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to track myself in that same environment as well. So we have this one here, and then the second angle, as Noah quite rightly pointed out, it's just a different angle for the second shot, and that's a very quick movement there. And then what I did from here is you can go to this render button, and I chose to do it as an image sequence instead of a video because I didn't want any blurriness or anything to happen in between frames. And then I just chose the custom start frame and a custom end frame. So basically it would just do from 179 to 180, which is basically the frame that we're looking at here. So it would give me that frame, and I did another one where it was basically any frame from 72 up to 175. And what that looks like when we've exported it is this. So that's my first angle, and then this is my second angle. And that's it. So that's all I used Unreal for, because like I said, I'm kind of new to it, and I didn't want to waste too much time doing it. Now, if we open Final Cut Pro, which is my editing app of choice, let's see what I've done to make it feel a little bit more real. A few moments later. Basically, this is what this looks like as a kind of final stage before I export it. But let me talk you through some of these things. So this first one here, this long thin bar, is a base correction. And basically what I've got going on in here is I have a vignette, and that's about it. But I would tend to use this if I wanted to add a particular effect across the whole video without having to go into each individual clip that's in there. And then these smaller ones that we've got are basically just subscribe and like things that appear in the bottom corner. Now, if I click onto this Bite Me clip, it's actually what's called a compound clip, which is almost like one folder, if you will, that contains a bunch of additional edits that if we had them all open at the same time would look a little bit messy, as you'll see in a moment. Alright, so forgive the mess of my garage, which is where I'm shooting this video as well. As you can see, I don't really want all of the kids things and just like bikes and guitar cases and some weights that I never use. The lawnmower, I don't want that in there either. And these are basically just the different clips that I used along with the official video, in case I wanted to add anything in there from the official video, but I also used it for the audio as well. So let's go back to our timeline, and then you'll see that there's a lot of what looks like duplicates. So we'll take this section here where I look like I'm doing something untoward with my hand, but let's ignore that for now. And I'm just gonna disable certain elements so you can see what's going on. So this is our image that I dragged in. We've got rhythm guitars, clean guitars, and some lead guitar going on. And that was all mixed in Logic Pro, which I've covered in a separate video. And then basically what I've done is is added myself in here. And the main thing that I've added is what's called a keyer, or a chroma key, and it basically will get rid of the green that's happening from my green screen, which you can't see, but it's basically up in the roof. It's on a roll, so I can just bring it down or lift it up whenever I want to, which is very convenient. And yeah, so I've just keyed out that color of green and kind of tweaked some of the edges a little bit, just because I didn't want it to look like there was any green on my shoulders or anything like that. And then I added a mask, which is what you can see in the red, and that will basically just get rid of that extra bit of junk and the lawnmower that I don't want in there either. Did a little bit of color correction, very, very slight, and that was it. And I did the same thing for this second shot here. As you can see, if I get rid of it, let me delete that one first actually. Well, not delete, but hide it. And that was that second shot that we talked about. So I added that in, same thing as before, added a mask if needed. I think that was over towards this side just in case I moved, and a little bit of color correction and our key. So that all looked great, and I actually exported it and uploaded it to YouTube and was basically ready to go. But then I watched it back and I thought something still doesn't feel right, and I thought, well, I've got my main ring light, as Noah quite rightly pointed out. I've also got two soft boxes to the left and right of me as well, and I thought if the video of me has light on it, which you can clearly see that I've got a light kind of pointing from this direction, and then also some lights being captured over here, it kind of makes sense for that to create a shadow and for those shadows to appear on the wall. And that is what these additional ones are. So I'm going to add these in and we'll talk through how I did this as well. I'm going to remove the one of me there, and as you can see, they move around exactly the same as I was doing to give it that additional layer of authenticity. Now, how I created this, we'll just start with this one for now. On this side here is I had the same keyer. So what I did with this one is I dropped the opacity down and added, changed the opacity type to overlay, because I wanted to see some of the bricks underneath. Drop that down to, I can't even remember now, 50%, there we go. And then added a blur to it as well, so that there were no hard edges, because you don't tend to get hard edges on shadows. And then color wise, to make it black, I just dropped the exposure down. So with the exposure up, it just looks like a blurry kind of shadow of me, but with color, which is not very realistic. And by dropping all of the exposure down, it basically created this black version of me, or very dark version of me. And then I basically positioned it, scaled it up a little bit so it looks like a shadow, positioned it where it felt right, did the same thing with the other one. And then yeah, that was it. That version now that I've just done probably looks a little bit better, but like I say, I had this plan to release at like 5 PM UK time, and this was at about 4:30, so I was like, oh no, I need to get this done because it's just going to bug me if I don't do it. So that's why I didn't spend too much time on it. And then for this one, this shot here, I just basically added it in as a one-time thing because it didn't really work when I pushed it to the other side. It kind of goes behind me and you can't really see it anyway, so I just thought I'll stick to the one for now. And then that was it. That is how I did that. So if you're wanting to record some covers or film anything and you maybe don't have that much space in your setup, or the room that you're using, you maybe don't have that much space, but you do have a computer that's kind of okay, then what you can do is download Unreal, make a background, and then buy a green screen. They're very, very cheap for what they are. Get a couple of likes. You could get all of this stuff for probably less than £100 UK. if you shopped around. And yeah, and then just have a play with it. If you've got any questions, you can leave a little comment in the bottom. I know that Mike, you'll be like, oh my god, it looks so real, that's crazy. And I'm sure Noah will be like, I told you so, I knew it. And yeah, for everybody else that's watched to this point, thank you very much. Leave me a comment to let me know what you had for your most recent meal. This is me trying to think of something off the top of my head. But yeah, let me know what you've just eaten in the comments below, and then I'll know that you've watched it to the end. And for those who have, thank you so much. I'm going to do another cover pretty soon. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. See you guys in the next one. Peace!